Good evening. My name is Isabel Tobin, and I am the Student Activities Board President at the University of Findlay. I am very excited to welcome you all to the 20th Annual Comedy Jam. This year has been very challenging. However, we're very excited that we were able to hold this event in a virtual setting. Student Activities Board is very excited about the lineup of comedians we have for you tonight. I would like to thank our sponsors, WFIN and WBVI radio station, and the Bistro on Main, as well as Fairfield Inn by Marriott. Normally during this time in the show, the host would take a moment to point out the emergency exits and the nearest bathrooms. However, since most of you are watching from your home, I really hope most of you know where those are. I guess I'll leave the jokes to the comedians. And with that, I would like to bring Jaron Myers to the stage. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Okay. All right. For the record, they did not tell us where the emergency exits are, so we're definitely stuck down here. Thank you so much for tuning in. There's no light to indicate which camera's on, so I'm just going to keep looking around. This is 2021. We're here. We made it, and after the year we had, my management was like, we got to start this year strong, Jaron. Where do you want to start? Do you want to go to Los Angeles, New York, Chicago? And I said no. Findlay, Ohio is where I would like to start. I would like it to be in a basement at a college campus that is definitely 300 years old and haunted. And I want it to look like a living room. I sure would love to have a guitar, or just a random guitar, and a fireplace. No fire. I don't want a fire. That's a hazard. But I would love like a Party City tablecloth dangling down from the fireplace, and then some little tea candles, because we're going to do a little seance thing later. Very excited about it. So I'm just excited to be out of my apartment. I remember when we were stuck inside for like a year? That was super fun. There was a moment when you realized it was real. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you can think back to March of 2020. It was 8 years ago, right? And there was a moment where it became real. And I'm going to talk I'm talking to the cameras, but also the people in the room. If you can think back to, because when your brain switches, we'd heard about it, it was like a thing that was happening in different countries. It was happening far away. And then they were like, listen, you're going to have to stay in your apartment, right? And so we started to bunker down. But then there was a switch for me when I realized one day I saw something and I went, oh, this is a life-changing event. And I don't know if you remember that moment happening. For me, the moment was I was at the store. Remember when people were buying all the toilet paper? I was at the store, and I saw a fist fight at a Target. I know, that was the moment for me where I was like, at a Target? I was like, that is Walmart behavior. If they're coming for Target, this is real, all right? That was the moment. And so I drove home from Target thinking, I think this world is changing. And then on the side of the road, side of the interstate, there's a Waffle House next to my house, okay? And Waffle House was closed. Now, I had to pull over, okay? Because that doesn't happen. If you know anything about Waffle House, which up here in Ohio, they've got them. I made sure. I don't go to places where they're not, okay? And so I made sure there was Waffle House, because Waffle House does not do that. They don't close. Like, it takes actual disasters for Waffle House to close. And I'm not exaggerating. That's not a joke. That's not like they're always open. It takes literal disasters. I grew up in Tornado Alley, all right? F5 tornadoes. Waffle House open the whole time. They do not care. They're swirling around. There's things flying through, and Waffle House is like, come on in, darling. You're good. Come on. Yeah. Like, they don't care. It's so true that FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, right? Cameraman's nodding. He knows. FEMA has this is 100% real. You're at home right now. You're watching this on a computer or a phone. Whichever one, use your other device to Google this real quick, okay? Because it's called the Waffle House Index. It's a real thing that FEMA has. I'm not making this up. Why would I come to a basement of an old school to lie to you about Waffle House, okay? They have a Waffle House Index where FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management, like a government entity, determines how bad damage is in an area after a storm by whether Waffle House is open or closed. Code green, Waffle House open, serving their food. Code red, somewhere in a government building, there's an intern that busts through a door, says code red, and everyone in that room knows, oh no, waffle down. You understand? Do you understand what that means? Right? And they say it's because Waffle House is more prepared for disasters than anybody else, so if Waffle House is hit, that means it's really bad, right? But if you think about just that sentence, right, because that means that Waffle House is more prepared for an F5 tornado than they are for a standard health inspection, okay? And I think what it is the people who work at Waffle House look out the window and see a hurricane, and they're like, well, my life can't get worse. Let's... You very timidly laughed at that. I feel a little tension from the camera girl over here. She's like, I don't want to make fun of Waffle House employees. It's fine, all right? That joke got me booked at their national conference, okay? They are aware, all right? I told that joke to a room full of Waffle House employees, and they laughed at it, all right? And then they slashed my tires in the parking lot. But anyway, but that was like when I realized it was real. There was so much stuff that happened this year that, like, since that moment, that really does feel like 10 years ago, right? I mean, like, and that was like, I remember going home from seeing the thing at Target, which honestly, when I say fist fight, what I mean is it was two middle-aged white women fighting over the last bottle of rosé, okay? Like, I thought I was going to watch Tammy shank Sandra, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was shaking. I went home, like, I realized this is something that's going to, and so we started watching the news every day, and then it just seemed like one thing after another happened. There was so much stuff that happened last year that you don't even remember any of it. You know, all you remember is like, oh yeah, COVID. But you don't, like, you can barely remember. There was a Tiger King documentary that I wrote jokes about. And I was like, this is crazy. And now we're out here like, that's the most normal part of last year. Where it's like, yeah, that all makes sense now. I remember the part where there's one of the ladies in the documentary. If you haven't seen it, you have. All right. So one of the ladies fed her husband to tigers. And we were like, whoa, that's crazy. Right? And then we all got locked in our apartments together, and we're like, we kind of get it now. I understand. That happened. Like, I had to spend a month with my family, and I was like, oh, I understand the urge now. But, like, I wrote jokes about that. But then you don't even remember any of it, right? The toilet paper thing. We were all buying up all the toilet paper, right? So in Springfield, Missouri, where I'm from, this is a true story. There was a lady who was in line at Walmart to get toilet paper, pregnant, didn't want to get out of line. She was afraid she wasn't going to get toilet paper, so she just sat down, gave birth in Walmart. Do you think I'm making it up? I'm serious. It's like, it's a real, every other year, we would have made T-shirts for that kid, you know? Every other year, we would have had Facebook polls going, like, what are we going to name the Walmart baby, you know? This year, just another thing, you know? In October, the government straight up told us the aliens are real. Did you know that? Yeah. It came out, and then we were all like, okay. That's how traumatized we are. What? I don't know. There's just so many things that happen that it's just hard to keep up with everything. And then now we're here and we're trying to go forward, and doing comedy right now feels like you're at a Starbucks and a fight breaks out behind you, like an all-out brawl. And I'm just like the middle-aged mom still leaning over the counter like, yeah, but I'm in a hurry. Can I still place an order? You know, like, can we still do this thing? When Starbucks by my house reopened, that was the best day of quarantine, because I was going a little stir crazy, like, you know, get stuck in my apartment for weeks, and I'm the kind of person, I'm very social. I like to be around people. I like to make jokes. I like to socialize, and so when Starbucks reopened, that was the best day of my life, because there's 2 entrances to get inside. So the first day, people are fine, like, they're like, you can go out, and people were like, we'll do it. You know, so they were like, so the parking lot's packed. All right, it went from like total lockdown to like, okay, I guess we're out here now. And I went and hung 2 signs. Starbucks by my house has 2 entrances. I hung up 2 signs that said, "Please use other door." Yeah, because it's COVID. You know, people walk up to that first one, they go, oh, okay. When they walk around that whole building and see that second one, I thought I was going to watch a middle-aged lady bust through the door at Starbucks, right? Because nothing's going to get between Catherine and her pumpkin spice. That was the best day of my life. I was going crazy in my apartment. I was sitting there. I was having to come up with like pranks to do. I started putting notes on my neighbors' cars because I have a ground floor unit, so I'm just looking out at the parking lot, right? So I started putting notes on my neighbors' cars that just said, "Sorry for the damage." And then I just sit in my apartment looking through the blinds like some kind of crazy, like just, I watch them like look all over their car. That brought me so much joy. Right? There's no damage. You're never going to find it. But that's in there for the rest of their life. They're just like, this car's damaged somewhere. That's funny. This is what I did, you know? Put notes on people's cars. Went to Starbucks and did that. I mean, like, one of my favorite pranks, you can do this too. This is a socially distanced prank. Please take notes. I'll go to Chick-fil-A or a establishment. You guys got Chick-fil-A's here, right? Which that's an intense thing of their own. They've got it figured out over there because they shut down their lobby and they're like, we don't even need buildings anymore. We just need 5 lanes and a parking lot, and we can hand out some chicken sandwiches. They got it figured out. You'll pull up there, and a kid will just come out and hand you food, and you'll be like, I didn't even order yet, and he'll be like, God told me. And you're like, oh, okay, right? And it's exactly what you wanted. I don't know how they're doing it, but it's incredible, right? So I'll go to Chick-fil-A. You order a large drink and then get an extra cup, right? Just an extra cup, not an extra drink, a cup with a lid and everything. And then tape it to the roof of your car. Are you with me? You understand, okay? And then just drive around because people are passionate. You'll be stuck at a red light and someone's leaning out. Hey! Hey! You left your drink on the roof, right? You got your windows down. You're like, yeah, dude, we're number 1. Yeah, right? If you're a bad person, just leave a dog leash hanging out the trunk, you know? Okay, camera girl judging me again, all right? I didn't say put a dog on the other end, all right? Just the leash. I was excited to get out of the house, man. I flew up here, flew to Detroit, drove down, had a layover. So I'm just in the airport. And here's the thing I think about life in general is that it's really easy to get sucked into your phone. And the thing about this year, too, like we were just locked in our apartments, and now that's a normal thing for your life. I keep saying apartment, right? You knew I lived in one, but like I keep saying it because I assume that everyone is not a homeowner that I'm talking to. But anyway, so you're locked in your house, and being isolated is becoming a normal thing, and it's really easy for that to be like a normal mode of life where you're like when you are out in public, you get isolated and sucked into your device, and so you miss what's happening around you. So I'd really encourage you that as the months progress and as we are able to go outside more, take a moment, look around, because like there's things happening around you that will bring you joy. Right? I'm a firm believer that what you're looking for in life is what you're going to find. Like if you're looking for things to be against you, if you're looking for the world to fall apart, it's there. You'll see it, right? But if you're looking for opportunities to speak life into somebody or to encourage somebody else or see something happening around you that brings you a moment of joy, that's also there. Like I was in the airport and there's a girl who's late for her flight. So she is running, all right? And she's got an emotional support dog. And that dog is one of those tiny ones, you know, that you like carry with you and stuff. And it's on a leash, it's on the ground, and its legs are real short. And she's sprinting, and that thing ain't keeping up, right? Because she's running, and that thing's just like, yep, right? Which half the people in this basement is just 3 people. 3 people are laughing, and then there's the other 2 that are like, oh, that poor dog, right? And the 3 people are my kind of people, okay? And so all I'm saying, you can sit here and be like, this guy's kind of a bad person. That's 2 dog jokes in a row. But listen, I'm just saying that dog is going to need its own emotional support animal later, okay? You have to get multiple support dogs. No, this is our support dog, and that's the support dog for the support dog. Yeah, that's pretty good. It was a tough year to not be married, I'll tell you that. It was a real tough year to be a single dude who has 2 cats, you know, because you're just hanging out at my apartment all day. I was getting so bored I was cleaning the microwave a couple times. I don't know, when's the last time you cleaned your microwave? I did it twice in one day. That's how bored I was getting, right? I'm not married. I'm 26. I turn 27 next month. And I'm a Christian. I'm a Jesus follower. So as a Christian, that's pretty old. So to not be married. It is 20. I'm gonna be 27. People are like, what's wrong with you? Get married. All right, because they do. All my friends got married almost 10 years ago. You doing the math? You get it? Yeah, they get married at 18, all right, for one reason, the tax benefits. And so, but they did. They all got married right out of, they got married while we were in college, and that was the dream. You figure out when you get married by 21, you have kids by 25. That's like the Christian trajectory. So now I'm like old. And so all my friends have kids, and that's really fun because they're not my responsibility, but I get to hang out with them and have fun. And then when they're the devil, then I can be like, this is your child. And so, which is awesome. But my friends are all like the hipster Christians, where they're like, I want my child to have a name that's as unique as their spirit. So my friends are naming their kids dumb things. I hate it, right? I can't tell if my friends are talking about their kids or their pets anymore, all right? Like my friend, we were on the phone a few weeks ago, and he was like, I'm just running out of things to do during quarantine. I went to the park the other day with Spartacus and Apollo. And I was like, are those your dogs? He's like, no, dude, those are my kids. Yeah, our dog's name is Brandon. I was like, just switch them, dude. They do. They're having kids. It's good. Anyway. I don't know. There's no audience to react on. I guess we're doing okay. We're doing all right. It's pretty fun. Again, in a basement. If I don't come out of this basement, the address is, I think it's like something Main Street in Findlay. You'll find it. It's not a big city. If you come here, there's a restaurant called Frickers. Is that a real thing? Frickers? That's a cuss word where I came from. Frickers. That's a Christian cuss word. We weren't allowed to say real cuss words, but we could say well, frick was like that was cutting it close. All right, if you said heck, that was like, oh, he's an edgy one, I grew up super Christian. I grew up like the homeschooled kind of thing where we weren't allowed to watch Harry Potter. Did you guys, you know what I'm talking about? Ethan knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, Ethan's a camera guy. Anyway. Yeah, we weren't allowed to watch Harry Potter. My mom was like, Jaron, that is potions. Jaron, they do potions in that movie. That is witchcraft and potions. I will not have that in my house. Right? But now I get a headache and she comes running in the room like, okay, just put 2 drops of peppermint and 1 drop of thieves. And I'm like, that's potions, Mom. We're not putting She got me one of those essential oils diffusers for Christmas. She was like, you just use this. It'll clear up all your stuff, I'm not going to use it. I did diffuse a Red Bull the other day, though. I'll tell you, talk about young living. I'll tell you what that is. That's fine. I grew up in a real small town, a lot smaller than, Findlay's a small city. I grew up in a small town, where you get we didn't have a Walmart. We just had a Dollar General. That was where we went, and so nothing really exciting ever happened. We did have one time where we made the local news, and for small town people, that's like the achievement. When you've made it onto KY3, that is like my dad DVR'd it. He showed everybody. He's like, we're on the news, right? And the reason we made the news was, those lost puppy posters that pop up everywhere, right? So these posters started popping up around my town that just said Lost Python. Right. And I felt like they could have left it at that. They could have been like, Lost Python, just so you know. They honestly didn't even have to put it. Our town's small enough. They could have leaned out the front door. My python's out. They probably shouldn't say that. But anyway, so they put signs up everywhere, and it had more information. They should have just put Lost Python, call 911, right? That would have been enough. But they put a picture of the snake on it, just in case you got confused. Just in case you're walking out of the store and you see a 6-foot snake, and you got to be like, is that the one from the poster? I don't know. It doesn't have a collar. You know, like, and then they also put on there, they said, if you see the snake, please don't approach it. I was like, no, we also got that. Like, I don't need instructions, right? I feel like they put that on there because they knew there'd be some guy from my town who'd be like, oh, this is why I learned the clarinet in the 6th grade. You know, he'd be out there in the back of his Ford Ranger just, right? He's out there like, I'm going to wrangle this thing back into the Chamber of Secrets. Sorry, Ethan, the Chamber of Secrets is a... That's all right. You'll catch the VeggieTales version, man. You're good. That's funny. All right. How much time we got? A lot more. Okay, here we go. More time. That's good. What else about me? I have a girlfriend. Thank you. That's like, I feel like I get some stares from the 6 people in the room, like people are like waiting for the punchline on it. They're like, "Is that real?" Yeah. No, I do have a girlfriend. She's prettier than me, which is obvious, right? Like I look like this. I live in the Midwest, right? So I'm pretty comfortable with the way I look. I used to be a lot bigger. I used to be 400 pounds. So in the last few years, I've lost 130, and so. Thank you, Jose. That's very nice. But I used to be a lot bigger. So now I live in the Midwest. I look like this. I look like I should be on Old Navy's front page. You know, like I look like that's, you know, they're like, oh, they're trying to use plus size models. That's great for them. So look, they're trying to use real people to sell their products. So I'm a Midwest 7. All right. Pretty good. Yeah, my girlfriend lives in Los Angeles. Because that's where she belongs. You understand? Like, she's a model. So, like, when we go out there, we get to L.A., all right? And to her, they're like, welcome to your new home, all right? And to me, they're like, how long are you visiting? You know, like you should go back to where, you know, you belong. Because everyone's pretty out there. So, like, in L.A., I'm like a 2, right? Los Angeles, 2. Kansas City, 7. Los Angeles, 2. Kansas City, 7. Did a show last year in Kentucky. I'm Harry Styles to those people. Like I'm walking around fighting the ladies off with a stick, you know? Not even watching out for their teeth. They're already gone. So that's dumb. And offensive to people from Kentucky, but you know, they're not watching this. They don't got internet. So they're that's the beauty of doing live stream shows, man. That's pretty good. No, my girlfriend's been into this true crime stuff. I know, just people behind the camera, people watching online. There are 6 people, and 5 of them are women. So we're playing to a specific demographic audience tonight. Are you guys true crime fans? True crime people? Yeah, Abby's giving me a thumbs. I knew it. When you walked in, I was like, this girl knows how to murder someone. All right? Because that's what it is. It's like they're taking notes, man. Like that's what, and I don't understand the fascination. You're really listening to like stories of like girls your age being brutally murdered, and you're just sitting in your car like, good thing it's not me, you know, like I don't know, it's weird, but like my girlfriend will just drop casual information. We'll be like watching a documentary and I'll be like, oh man, she'll be like, I think they put the body in the river. I was like, well, that wouldn't make sense, it would float. And then she goes, well, not if you puncture the lungs. I was like, you said that too fast. You didn't even pause, right? There was no like, oh yeah, let me think about it. It's just like, no, I know what's gonna like. That was too fast. Like Google it, you know. Give me a second to. I didn't like that. I'm saying if I don't get out of this basement and I go missing forever, you should give my girlfriend a call. She's got something to do with it. All right, watch. That's pretty good. Oh man. Well, oof. That took up 2 more minutes. Man, these online shows have been super fun. Really, I'm just grateful to be doing comedy. I'm really grateful to be able to laugh and have fun. Like this is like the best thing in my life. I love making people laugh. I love laughing with people. That's why I'm really into Pranks. I'm really into just doing fun things. One of my favorite things. You can also do this because y'all do have Walmarts here. You can go to Walmart. They sell photo frames, right? You can change those pictures. Did you know that? You can just go to Walmart, put your own pictures down the whole freaking aisle, and no one stops you. At Target, they'll stop you. At Walmart, they don't care. At Walmart, an employee will walk up and be like, do you need help doing that? Yeah, I do, man. I do need help, Brian. Thank you. And you just put your own picture down the whole aisle. Somewhere, I'm on somebody's mantle. Just a picture of me on someone's mantle. That's pretty funny. Okay. Anyway, hey, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this. I'm going to play this guitar. Let's see if you're even able to hear it. You guys give me a thumbs up if this is going to work. Hey, it's in tune. Let's do this, huh? All right. Thank you for coming to youth group tonight. We're going to do some worship. You good? You can hear it. Okay. I'm actually going to do a love song, if that's all right with y'all. So, did you say boo? We have a studio audience of 6 people. And so right now we've got like 15% that's out. They're like, all right, no, well, you better get on board. I'm going to do it either anyway, so. All right, this is a love song. It's for someone special in my life. So if you're at home, cuddled up on the couch, maybe this is your date night. If this is how you're spending your date night, first of all, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, this is a good Saturday night. So this is for you. Here we go. I love you, babe. I copied your post and got it framed. It's hanging on my bedroom wall. And I'm not ashamed that you're 43 and I am not. Okay. It's just a number after all. 'Cause she picked me out of all the other emails she received. She opened mine, now we're together. I'm more excited for forever. Just me and her daughter, who she didn't mention in her ad when I found my girl on Craigslist. Okay. I know she's the one, 'cause she loves the outdoors. She loves to travel to see her family in Singapore. She's fun and outgoing, easy on the eyes. I know she's attractive, 'cause Craigslist never lies. Yes, it does. Right, Ethan? You know. Well, it might be awkward, 'cause your daughter graduated before me. I'm sorry. And I might become her dad. Love is about making sacrifices, and I'm okay with that. 'Cause she picked me out of all the other emails she received. She opened mine, now we're together. I'm more excited for forever. Just me and her daughter, who she didn't mention in her ad when I found my girl on Craigslist. Hey, that worked. That worked out. Yeah, that was the most Christian thing I've done tonight, where I just go, I'm going to play that acoustic guitar. There's always the kid. Anyway, all right. Well, hey, listen, I'm Jaron Myers, honored to be a part of this, the 20th annual, first time virtual. We're doing our thing down here in Findlay. So thank you for tuning in. And we've got a phenomenal show. There's more to come. There's more happening. So would you stay logged in and from your house, just start clapping in your living room. Maybe we'll hear you. Thank you. And give it up for Jose Sarduy.
Jaron, so freaking good. I used your curse word. If you are watching and you are confused and thinking, oh no, Jaron introduced the wrong guy, my name is really Jose. I understand. Everyone's like, that clearly is a Jason. They have messed this show up already. I get that all the time. My name is Jose, and nobody believes me. I used to live in Texas. Went to meet a woman's family. The dad opened the door, and he was like, "You're Jose?" Woo! We thought you was going to be like a real Jose. I was like, what? What did he think was coming to the door? Like some dude with maracas? Like, I'm here to date your daughter. Okay, limbo across the door. I don't know. I thought maybe that was just the South, but I used to live in Philadelphia. A lot of different cultures up there. I met a Puerto Rican guy. He's like, "What's your name, man?" I go, "My name's Jose." He's like, "No, papi. Your name no can be Jose." I'm like, "Yes, it is. I was born in Cuba." He's like, "You look like a policeman." The worst is now I live in Los Angeles, and I want to find a Cuban restaurant, so I do. I go to that Cuban restaurant, and everybody that works there is Mexican, because that's the predominant Hispanic culture that's there. So they see me alone at the table, like, "I come back and explain the menu." And then I feel like I got to be extra Cuban. So I'm like, "I got it. Arroz con frijoles y maduro, por favor." And they're like, "Oh, okay, the guy from immigration, the guy from immigration." Then everybody scatters. So you're not alone. I'll do shows all over the country. I'll go to some small town in Kentucky that's got one Hispanic family. They all come to the show. "Finally, a Latino comedian has come all the way to my town." What is that guy? Is he like a vampire Latino? Is this Twilight on Telemundo? What's going on? I don't know. That's really my name, Jose. Last name is Sarduy, and that doesn't help. Nobody knows what that is. I was at a show, and this lady yelled out, "Sarduy, that sounds like a sandwich." And I was like, "It can be. You got a friend?" Sarduy. She didn't get it. She's like, "Is it a good sandwich?" I'm like, "It's not bad." It is a Cuban name. I was born in Cuba, raised in Miami, so I'm a good swimmer, obviously. That is a stereotype, if you didn't know. That was a stereotype. I did not know that was a stereotype till I went out for the high school swim team. And the coach is like, "Sarduy, where's your name from?" "I was born in Cuba." "We're going to win state this year. We got a Cuban kid now. You're a captain. Do you have cousins?" I was like, "Obviously, I have cousins. I'm Cuban." And I don't know if all Cubans are good swimmers. I just know that if there had been Cubans on the Titanic, everybody would have survived. That would have been a way better movie, too. People running around, "Oh, there's no more lifeboats." Two Cuban guys, "We don't need no lifeboats. You take this piano, you put it in the water, you can put 16 people on that thing." I actually saw the movie Titanic. I saw it when it came out in theaters in Miami, which was an experience. There's a part when the boat's sinking, the band is playing, guy's got a big cello. Cuban 3 rows down, just can't take it anymore, yells at the screen, "That thing in your hand, it floats!" The guy with the little one, he gonna die. He not gonna make it. So it's good to be here in Findlay. Love it. Like Jaron said, we're in a basement across from the Holiday House. It's very festive outside. I think that's just a family that got criticized for leaving the Christmas lights up so long. They're just like, "Let's do every holiday." And then people are like, "Why?" And they're like, "For the foreign exchange students. That's what we're doing it for." It's not because we're weirdos. No, but it's good. I looked up Findlay, Ohio. I always like coming to Ohio. I love aviation, so I love the argument that Ohio has always had with North Carolina, right? They fight for the names and the motto. Right? North Carolina, Kitty Hawk, first in flight. And Ohio's like, "Oh, no, you did not. The Wright brothers worked here. We're the birthplace of aviation. How you like that?" I love that. I love that battle. Let's over something like that. I looked up the town of Findlay on Wikipedia, and it's a short read. No, actually, there's a lot going on here. I looked up the school, and there's nothing to make fun of at this school except your equestrian program. I've never been to a school with so much horse stuff going on, but it's You're like, well, what kind you got? We got English and Western. I didn't know that was the thing, that there was English and Western. What is Western? Like, do the horses like, they love pickups. I don't know the Western style. The English, I'm like, there's English equestrian. So those horses, they don't speak any other languages. So, venga acá, caballito. Like, what is he saying? I don't know. But just play along. We'll get some tea and crumpets. I did look at the course requirements for equestrian, and some of those classes and some of the stuff that's written could be something else. That's what I love about it. Right? There's Western pleasure. That's a thing. It was like, oh, that sounds dirty. That sounds like a dirty thing that you guys are teaching at this school. And I thought, oh, that's going to be the only dirty one. No, there's advanced reproduction techniques. That's a class at this school. That's like a Kama Sutra class for horses. That's advanced reproduction technique. I actually looked into what it was, and it's a big glove. And all right. I'm going to keep the original image. That's what I want. That's my Finley joke. Wrote that today. It's been an interesting year. I learned a lot about society and people in general. Number one lesson this year, ninjas are not real. That is a made-up thing. I wore a mask all year long. I know you cannot be sneaky when you have no lower peripheral vision. I kept hitting my feet and tripping. Ninjas are crap. That's not real. It's not real. Plus, you can learn a lot about a person by how they wear their mask, right? This person has bad breath and is aware, right? But you got to take the mask down to eat and drink, right? So how you take your mask down says a lot about you. This person always wanted a beard, but can't grow one. This person always wanted to be a fighter pilot. He's on my 6, right? You just hang the mask down. And then this person is drunk. So, but I'm glad to be here. I get to travel here, and even with, the COVID restrictions and everything like that, it's still safer to travel than the way I used to travel when I went on the road, which is driving. Because I drove a car that made people angry. Y'all guess what I drive? Yeah, it's a Prius. I drive a Toyota Prius, which is a car that makes people angry. I don't know why. I just know that if I pass people on the highway, they will race me. Nobody likes to get past. I passed an older lady in a Cadillac. She's like, I love Jesus. Oh, no, sir. Took out her teeth to race me. Just gets weird reactions as a car. I pull up to a red light, and this muscle car pulled up next to me, and he's like, brum, brum. Like, are you serious? You ready for this engine? You want to hear my engine? Wait, let me turn down NPR. You ready for this engine, sir? Here we go. Bring, ding, 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 ding. It's a small world after... My car shoots flowers out the back, okay? I'm not racing you. Gets odd reactions. I know it's not a tough car. I know because I've hit many animals with it. And they're all okay. I hit a deer down in Texas, and I clearly heard it go, what the hell was that? Some bit me, Bambi. Some bit me. Why am I covered in flowers? I actually did a show for Toyota years ago because my 2007 Prius died in 2015 with 389,941 miles on it. Yeah, I drove it back from Japan. And they found out about it at the show. I did a show for Toyota, and they were like, that's really great with your car. Do you want to do a commercial for the company? I was like, I would love to do a commercial for the company. For the Prius? They're like, yeah, for the Prius, except could you be nicer to the car in the commercial? I'm like, could you fix some stuff on the car? They're like, what's wrong with it? Oh, I don't know. Could we toughen up the horn a little bit? Just a little. Like, you ever heard a Prius horn? Ha! Ha! It's like a happy dolphin. I can't use that in traffic. It's behind a guy. The light turned green. I went, ha! He goes, no, we're not going on that. It's worse when you hold it down like, hey, someone is killing a banshee over there. I had a thought to like replace the horn, like put a train horn on top of my car and then put floodlights so at least at night I'm behind you. I'm like, then you get out of the way and then I drive by. I love science. Right? So it'd be great. But I became a comedian because I have a crazy family. And if you have a crazy family, be proud of your crazy family. You will always have a reason to drink. That is socially acceptable. Why are you drinking? My mom. Yeah, that guy's good. That's good. Right? Thing is, when you're a little kid, you don't know. That, like, my mom's crazy. She's my hero, but she's crazy. And when you're little, you don't know that your mom's crazy. Until right when you're little, you're like, this must be normal. This must be what all the other moms are doing. And then you get old enough to compare, like, notes with other adults, and you're like, oh, none of that was normal. That's pretty cool. That's how therapy started. That's what therapy's born on right there. Because I was 19, I was at a house party, sitting around talking about home remedies with like 20 people. People coming up, one time I had 104 fever. My mom dropped me in a bathtub full of ice. I was like, ooh, and everybody's trying to top each other. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty bad. But you guys remember you get the stomach flu, and your moms would put in the suppositories, right? Remember how crappy that was? And they all looked at me like most of you are probably like, no. My mom gave me soup. And I was like, how did she get soup in there? That seems worse. Like, you got to use a funnel and stuff. That's bad. Tell you what, though, I never went home sick from school. I could be at school puking blood. Jose, you want to go home? No! Please don't send me home. She's going to put a cough drop in my butt. Please. Just let me stay here. But you're puking blood. That's what I do when I'm happy, because I love fractions. That's exactly, like I became a comedian because of my mom. Like, other kids would get bedtime stories, right? You went into your mom's room and like, Mom, I'm scared. And she would hold you and say, it's going to be okay, and read you a story. No, my mom would tell me dirty jokes in Spanish. That's why I became a comedian. And I don't know what you were scared of as a kid, but I was scared of alien invasion because I heard they go in your butt, and I'd already had enough of that. I didn't cry when they sent E.T. home. I'm like, send him home. Send that creepy little thing home. I know why Elliot's crying, right? So I may have to get rid of that since some people may not have seen E.T. That is an old-ass reference. My mom does have an accent, which I love, because I don't even know if she messes it up on purpose or not to like entertain me, but either way, it's really great. She called me up the other day like, when you come visit next time, you can use your computer all over the house. We have high five all over the house. No, I actually want high five all over the house. That sounds awesome. You just walk around. I remember when I was a kid, we had some construction on the house, and my mom walked in the bedroom. The guy was building this thing she didn't pay for. Like, hey, what is that? I didn't pay for that. What is that? And the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I got a wild hair up my ass on this one. My mom was like, I did not need to know that. But now that I do, I have questions. Why don't you shave it? Does it go in and tickle you? Like, diggy, 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 diggy. My mom was very fascinated with the butt area as a kid. Best part about that story is she followed him around the house the rest of the construction project, and whenever he went to sit down, she put newspaper. Like, please, sit on the newspaper. It's really good for wild hair. Wild hair love newspaper. They learn about current events. My family's interesting story. We came from Cuba when I was a little kid because my dad was a political prisoner. My dad actually protested the government in Cuba, and we got deported from Cuba to the USA. And I have Mexican friends that are like, that's a good deal. Who gets deported to the United States? I'm like, I know. I can't even pitch. That's usually how we get in. If you don't understand that joke, at least now when you watch Major League Baseball, you're like, that's why there's so many Hernandezes. because there's Coast Guard in the Caribbean right now. You made it. Can you pitch? No, go to Haiti, play soccer or something. We don't. It's a tough life. But my family's very patriotic because America took us in. My dad, I remember recently we were watching the women win the World Cup, just me and him on the couch. He's yelling at the screen like we're at the stadium. Like, come on, son, USA, USA. It's not just for Jews, Dad. It's for everybody, right? Well, my dad, we all were very patriotic because of that. Here's how patriotic I am, y'all. I am a vegetarian, but I love Kentucky Fried Chicken. Like, I don't even eat it anymore. I just support it. Because it was the first meal we ate out. We were so poor when we got here, we couldn't eat out. So the first meal, we got Kentucky Fried Chicken. My dad went all out. He got the bucket of chicken, got the biscuits, the gravy, right, the mashed potatoes. But he also bought the coleslaw. And if you've been eating coleslaw your whole life, you may not know this. It is disgusting. And there's people right now who are like, no, it's pretty good. Yeah, and when you're in equestrian, you don't smell that you smell like poop. You can get used to awful things if you just do them all the time. I don't know who thought that would be a culinary delight. You know what this salad needs to be? Let's make it wet. Let's make a wet salad. Should it be clear wet? No, let's make it snotty wet. See, people still eat it. So my dad noticed we weren't eating the coleslaw. He's like, hey, why is nobody eating the coleslaw? And we're like, it doesn't taste good. He's like, I don't care. You have to eat it because the white people eat it. And they cannot find out we are not white people. Like, they're going to know when you talk. My dad's not going to sneak past any of you. Where are you from, sir? Boston, Massachusetts. That's how he says Massachusetts. And I don't have an accent because I came when I was 3. And when I was a kid, I mean, you're a sponge, but I also had some great TV. Like, I watched American television for 5 straight days because I wanted to play with the neighbor kids. 5 straight days of watching TV, and I learned enough English to translate for my family at restaurants. That's how good American TV was when I was growing up. Because I watched classic shows like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Sesame Street, The Muppet Show, Days of Our Lives. You know, the classics that you want a child. That's why I'm so melodramatic in relationships. No, don't leave me, right? So I learned a lot of TV. It translate for my family at restaurants. The problem was I learned it mostly from Muppets, which we'd be at a restaurant. My mom would want steak and potatoes. Dile a la señora que quiero bistec con papa. Bistec con papa. I'm like, hi-ho, my mom wants a steak and potatoes, please. And the waitress is like, that's adorable. Does your mommy want bacon? No, not bacon. That's Miss Piggy. I'm just glad I outgrew Muppet voices because you don't need Muppet voices in adult scenarios. You don't want to get pulled over. You know how fast you were going? Herd a bird, a herd, a bark, bark, bark. That's how you end up in the back of the cop car. Animal don't like handcuff. It's just not good in adult scenarios. You don't want to be in the bedroom in the height of passion and then go, me. That's how you end that relationship. But my dad loves American culture. He has a big movie collection. It's all American movies. He loves movies in English. And he noticed me and my friends like to quote movies, so my dad started trying to do it. And the best part about my Cuban dad quoting American movies is you will never know which movie it is from the quote. He doesn't know, he doesn't get it, doesn't know how to do. Like, I tried to show him classic movies so he gets some easy quotes. I tried to show him like Dazed and Confused, right? Matthew McConaughey's breakout role. You know, all right. But I was like, I like that movie. Okay. No, that's you're using a different word. That's a different, you chose a different word from what is in the movie. Showed him Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. Luke, I am your father. He's like, Luke, who's your daddy? What? No. You're mixing 2 genres. You're mixing sci-fi and porn. That's not how you do it. I tried, there's movies with so many great lines like The Godfather. I showed him The Godfather. I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. Great lines like that. And my friend was like, Mr. Sarduy, you saw The Godfather? He goes, yes. Remember when he goes, that's what I'm talking about? No. What? What? Was Scarface in The Godfather? I watched it again just in case I missed it. I did not miss it. It's not in there. That line is from Dazed and Confused. But if you looking and dazed and confused for someone going, that's what I'm talking about, you're not going to find it there either, because it was said by Slater, the pothead, when he was talking about how George Washington believed in aliens from other planets. And he said, that's what I'm talking about, man. And my dad got, that's what I'm talking about, in The Godfather. I don't know how he puts these things together. I just know that now I want everybody to yell that when they're happy. Something good happens in your life, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example. I was at my buddy's house. I had to use the bathroom. I had to go right after him. He'd gone number 2. It smelled awful. I went number 2, and the smell was gone. I pulled him in there. He's like, what did you do? I'm like, I think we cancel each other out, dude. And I have been looking for a woman like that ever since, because that's what I'm talking about. That's my soulmate right there. That's also useful for embarrassing situations. You're trapped in a crowded elevator like, oh, no, baby, I got you. That's what I'm talking about. That's my soulmate. We are butt compatible. That's how. That's the final check. That was a fart joke. If you didn't enjoy that, then you're not going to enjoy the rest of the show. No, I'm just kidding. I do this job full time. I love it. I did go to college. I do have a college degree. I got a degree in aeronautical engineering from the United States Air Force Academy. And I am currently 25-year veteran of the United States Air Force, still in the reserves. I do that part-time. And people are confused by that. Like, you look too young to be a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force. I'm like, you should have seen when I was a 23-year-old lieutenant flying cargo planes. I looked 14, which sucked for passengers. I had a World War II veteran get him a plane. What do you do on the plane, little boy? I say, I'm your pilot, sir. He's like, we're taking a train then. They got babies flying airplanes. But I do have a degree in aeronautical engineering, which I try to use all the time, and it backfires on me. I was on an airplane with a lady, and we're sitting there. She finds out I'm an aeronautical engineer. I'm also an aircraft accident investigator. That's a job I've had, which always gets interesting questions. Like, Jose, what happened to that Alaska airplane? The guy stole it up in Seattle, did some loops, crashed it on an island. You're an aircraft accident investigator. What do you think about that? And I was like, I think landing is hard. Right? Or what? That movie Sully, is that true? Right? The miracle on the Hudson, plane crashed in the Hudson River. Everybody survived. Jose, what do you think about that? I was like, I think those pilots were surprised. You're not supposed to make it through those. I imagine their final moments were, here we go, you guys. Here we go. Did we make it, dude? Oh, my goodness. I don't actually know what to do now. The other pilot's like, I don't know where the exits are on this thing. Are you serious? We're going to Vegas tonight. And we are driving because I don't want to fly anywhere for a while. So she finds out I'm an aeronautical engineer. I'm a aircraft accident investigator. I'm also a pilot in the Air Force, which audiences are confused with. They want to clap because you're a veteran, but they're like, they let the Cubans fly the planes? Shouldn't he be in the Coast Guard? No, you don't want Cubans in the Coast Guard. That's like Mexicans in the Border Patrol. That's probably a bad idea. Stop right there. Oh, that's my cousin. Okay, welcome to America. That's not good. People find I'm a pilot. They're like, oh, like Tom Cruise in Top Gun? No. I'm a cargo pilot, and I'm not this tall. I can't do that joke in L.A. because lawyers. But there is a part in Top Gun where the boss is yelling at him. He goes, if you screw up just this much, I'll have you flying cargo planes full of rubber dog crap out of Hong Kong. That's what I'm like. That's me. That's me, guys. That's what I'm talking about. I'm in Top Gun. That's right. I just wish I had good stories from that pilot time, you know. But she finds out all this stuff about me. She finds out I'm an aeronautical engineer, aircraft accident investigator, pilot. So she's asking me airplane questions, which people don't do on airplanes generally. And then we hit some turbulence, and I found out why. Because she was scared to fly. She was trying to get over her fear. But when the turbulence hit, she just couldn't do it. And just white knuckling it and just, ooh. And then she looked out the window. And let me tell you something. If you're scared to fly and you hit turbulence, don't look out the window. There's nothing for you out there. Okay, close the blind. Pretend you're in the dryer. Ooh, it's tumble. Pretend time. That's because she looked out the window, and then in way too loud a voice goes, Jose, the wing, it's flapping. And people woke up from dead sleep. What's the wing? What is it doing? She looked at me and said, does that mean the wing is going to come off? And I am a pilot, an aeronautical engineer, and an aircraft accident investigator. So I said, well, that's unlikely, but it could happen. And I heard buttholes closing 3 rows away, just boom, 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 boom. So she obviously looked at me with this face, which means, what is wrong with you? But I took that face to mean, please, Jose, explain further. So I said, well, there's a chance that wing will hit resonance frequency, and then it'll break off. But don't worry, if that happens, we will start spinning so fast that just about everybody will pass out before we die 4 minutes later. And some people are like, you didn't help that lady, Jose, in her time of need. And I disagree. I think I did help her because she wasn't scared anymore. She was angry. More useful. But I've been in the military a long time, and people are like, oh, do you have really cool stories? And nope. No, my career has been a series of embarrassing stories. And I should have known early on. I was very proud of being a pilot. And so I've been to Iraq, and I remember I was there, and I was talking to an Army guy. I was all proud to be Air Force. And I was like, hey, man, is it rough over here? Army guy was like, oh, my goodness, man. Other day, we're in a firefight. We're outnumbered 10-1. They're too close to call in air support. Bullets flying all over the place. Jimmy got hit in the leg, but we fought our way out of there. Then I was like, I got to represent for the Air Force. I got to bring an Air Force story to this. Oh, yeah. One time, we were taking off out of Bangkok, Thailand. The whole crew was hung over. 2 guys had the dry heaves, and the coffee pot totally broken. Oh, and none of the box lunches had utensils. It was pandemonium. But that story doesn't compare. Because I do have some stories that, the camera people are whispering. I was wondering what the hell that was. I was like, what is there like something else going on? Another performance above that that people can switch to? The comedy show. And there's a spoken voice thing up the top. Now I know it's the camera people whispering. Oh man, I feel so much better. I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was going crazy. Because they got to work together. They got to work together as camera people. Obviously, I just thought maybe they had some kind of sign language. Nope, it's just like, this guy is really pale. We got to turn these damn lights down. He looks like he glows. So there's the whisper. Oh, they could be talking so much smack about me, and I have no clue. Oh, this is getting funner by the second. I'm going to the holiday house. I don't give a shit. All right. That's my one curse word for the whole night. I just wish I had good stories to compare. Because I do have stories that, if you just hear like, oh, you flew into Baghdad at night? I'm like, yeah, let me tell you that story. I was flying into Baghdad at night, and we got shot at, which if you're in a cargo plane, you don't have a gun to shoot back. So you're not the toughest person when they shoot at you. If you got a gun on your plane and they shoot you, like, oh, no, you didn't. I don't have that. Oh, no, you didn't. It's more like, they are shooting! Like, it's just not the same. But normally they're shooting. It's on the inside. You have all that anxiety you don't let it out. But one time, we're flying into Baghdad. We see some machine gun fire I tried to sound cool on the radio. So I came on the radio and I said, Baghdad Tower, lifter 4702, we got ground fire north of the field. Sounds pretty cool, right? They said, 4702, stand by. Did he just say stand by? Like I'm on the phone with Sprint or something? Calls me back a minute later, 4702, don't worry about it. They are celebrating in town tonight. They're not shooting at you. They're shooting their guns in the air. And I was like, well, that is a relief, except I'm in the air. I yelled that over the radio. So I didn't sound cool in the end. That was the problem. I did learn a lot being in the military. I learned some important lessons for life. I'll tell you one that I take with me everywhere. I was flying to Thule, Greenland. We were taking supplies up to Thule, Greenland, which is in the Arctic Circle. It's the North Pole. It's like right next to an iceberg. Like the runway's white, the markings are red. I land and all this ice goes everywhere. It's a 300,000-pound cargo plane. Just taxiing it around at like the slowest speeds, I thought it was going to slide into a ditch. So I'm using every ability that I've been taught to steer. And I knew it was bad because we put the ramp down and our first crew member stepped on the ice and immediately, whah, bah, right on his back. And we were like, everybody, we got to be careful. We got to be careful. We don't want to be that guy. We all walked in like somebody needs a Zamboni, this entire area. But I get in there, my head's already pretty big. Like, I just landed in this, and I taxied that giant airplane. I'm like, feeling pretty big on it. Like, I may need a kickstand for my head. It's so big. It's just, whoosh, right? We get there, and the guy behind the counter goes, hey, who landed the plane? And they all pointed at me. They're like, the LT, that's what they call lieutenants. The LT landed. And he's like, hey, man, I've been working here 15 years. That's the best landing I've ever seen. And I was like, oh, no. Shh. That head kept growing. I was like, I'm going to need lube to get it through doorways. This is shh. So I am the most confident I've ever been in my entire life. I saunter up to the guy at the counter, and I'm just confidence just oozing out of me. And I said, hey, man, thank you very much. Hey, listen, I really love penguins. Where can we go to see penguins? And he goes, South Pole. Oh, shh. Like, some of you didn't know that when you could have gotten caught. What I learned was, don't be cocky. You'll look stupid eventually. So I do love telling the stories because people don't know much about the military, and so I get to educate them. That being said, I get a lot of dumb questions, and if you have dumb questions, please bring them to me. I love dumb questions. It's so good. I love dumb questions, especially the ones that start out sounding kind of smart and then end dumb. That's my favorite. Like somebody came up to me like, you flew cargo planes? I was like, yeah. He's like, when you were did you ever air refuel behind, like you get up in the air and you're behind another airplane and you get gas from a tube? And I was like, yeah, we used to do that. He's like, when you were up there, did you get out and talk to the other pilot? Like, I'm in the Air Force, man, not Cirque du Soleil. What do you think, we string ropes? Like, I'm coming to see you, Bobby. I don't know. My favorite dumb question ever, I've gotten this a few times, and I'll give you my favorite example. So a couple years back, I'd been in the Air Force 22 years, and this I was in Boise, Idaho. This older lady comes up. She's like, you've been in the Air Force 22 years? I was like, yes, ma'am. She's like, my neighbor's son just finished boot camp in the Army. He's stationed in Georgia. Do you know Jimmy? Maybe. What's Jimmy's last name? Smith? Oh, Jimmy Smith. That's going to be hard to find. So now I just make stuff up. At that point, that's the first time I did it. I just made stuff up about Jimmy. I'm like, Jimmy is a good kid. That he can drink a lot, right? And she's like, he's Mormon. I'm like, you lost another one. Sorry. Your rules are tough. So I do love doing that. People are like, oh, do you have any stories that are cool from your time in the military? And I'm like, well, I have a story that sounds good in synopsis. Like the synopsis sounds good, but the actual story, not so good. Like I prevented an international incident. Yeah, sounds impressive. Just wait. So we were flying to Dakar, Senegal. It's West Africa. We were taking supplies to the embassy there. And we get there, and I don't know if you were there at the time. Probably no one in this room. But but if you were there at the time, maybe you know this, you could not make big purchases on credit. So anything over $5,000, you had to pay cash, which is not a big deal until you have to refuel a 300,000-pound cargo plane, which came to 75,000 pounds of gas, which was $114,000 that we had to pay cash. So who do you think they sent in with the money? Did they pick a crack squad of Marines or Navy SEALs or maybe some Army Rangers? Nope. They decided to send in First Lieutenant Sarduy, who had gotten a B- in hand-to-hand combat. That was their first choice. And I thought they were going to give me a silver case like in the movies with the bills all tight. Brr. No, they hand me a Nike gym bag with like a broken zipper on it with $114,000 in it, just loose, like I had robbed a bank. They're like, go pay for the gas, LT. I was like, meh, by myself? You should know that I got expert in the M16 rifle because the dude next to me was nearsighted and kept hitting my target. It's 35 out of 40 holes to make expert. I had 47 holes on my target. They were like, you're really good. I'm like, yeah, I make bullets go in and back out and back in. I'm a magician is what I am. So like, oh, you want backup? We'll get you some backup. You get the lieutenant from accounting. So the lieutenant from accounting was too short to be a pilot. That's why he went into accounting. You know how short you got to be where they don't let you be a pilot? This stool could be a pilot. So they give me this little dude, like, that's my backup. Okay, well, you're not going to see us again. So they're like, we're kidding. We're going to give you some real backup. We'll send in the Ravens with you. Now, the Ravens are security forces personnel in the military that go to austere locations to protect the aircraft. And if you don't know what security forces are, these are people that join the military to shoot guns and blow things up. But what they actually do is they stand at the gate for 8 hours a day and check IDs. They hardly ever shoot their guns and never blow anything up. These are people that want stuff to happen. I know because one of them walked up to me like, hey, LT, we can't take guns in there, but don't worry. We got these extended batons in our sleeves. Anybody mess with you, we got your back. I was like, we're going to die. Okay. So I'm walking in, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm overreacting. This is an international airport. It's going to be fine. I walked in, and I was wrong. We walk in. It's a dark room. There's one lamp, and it's swinging like there's a ghost. Me and the lieutenant from accounting have the bag of money between us. We look like Shaggy and Scooby coming into a room like, we walk in, and I look over. There's two guards. I say that because they look like they were wearing Somali pirate starter kits as outfits. Like just holding the pants, sandals, AK-47s, terrifying, right? So I'm staring at them, and then from the back room, the deepest voice I've ever heard goes, what do you want? And we both went, ah! We screamed like we were at a haunted house, and then I couldn't stop yelling. He's like, what do you want? Like, I want to pay for the gas! Why am I yelling? The whole thing! So I give the bag of money to the lieutenant, I send him in, and in come the security forces guys, and they're like that scene from Animal House, just like, so I'm like, I got to watch these guys. You go pay for the gas. So if you've never been to West Africa, everybody's really tall. So the counter reached the lieutenant at eye level. Like he had to heave the bag of money. Like he had to heave it up there. And then he had to stand on his toes. His bags, it looked like a child had stolen his dad's uniform and was trying to steal cookies from the counter. That's what it looked like. I like chocolate. So it looked like that, and the man was not used to that, so he just slid him the receipt. The lieutenant goes, oh, excuse me, sir, you have to sign the receipt. And the man was like, no sign. You take. And the lieutenant from accounting said, you're going to sign it, or we're not taking it. And I'm standing over here like, what are you doing, Oompa Loompa? And the guy behind the counter was not ready for that. He's like, no sign. You take it, Lieutenant. Well, if you don't sign it, then we're not leaving the money. Puts his hand on the bag of money. As soon as his hand touches, from over here, I hear this sound, click, which is the sound of a safety coming off an AK-47, which at first didn't scare me because at first I was like, that gun has a safety on it? What? I didn't think the Russians cared about safety. I later found out that's the same switch that puts it to full auto. So it's a tense situation, right? And what made it worse was the security forces guys are living the dream. They turned into like fight, like boxing or like a rap battle hype band, like, oh, yeah, it's going down tonight. Don't you let him talk to you like that, LT. Don't you let him talk to you. I'm like, can you guys be quiet, please? Let me remind you, you have batons. If I need you to lead a marching band, I'll call you. So I know I got to do something. I go over, I grab him by the collar, turn to me, and he knew something was up because I was paler than usual. And he goes, "What?" I go, "Just take the receipt with no signature." And he goes, "Fine, but I don't like it." "I don't care what you don't like, Scrappy-Doo. Just take the receipt." So he grabs the receipt, and I'm dragging him out. I'm getting the security force guys out the door. And I'm dragging him, and I could see the wheels turning. He's like, "How am I going to explain this?" Back at accounting, we get right before he gets out the door, he looks up at the two guards, and he goes, "Oh, those two guys have guns!" So we almost died, and I lost a good pair of underwear because he was dumb. And that is how I prevented an international incident. Thank you very much for having me. I'm Jose Sarduy. Enjoy Jay Black. You guys are great. Have a good night.
Jose Sarduy, guys. Wow. And honestly, we were just lucky that he was already in town. We got him on this show. He was already in town for the Andy Samberg lookalike convention. So we're just really blessed. And so he's doing a birthday as Tom Cruise tomorrow. So he's got a lot of gigs. He's on the road all the time. Hey, I looked it up, guys, on YouTube. We've got a good little group hanging out. It's not 2 people. It is 3. It's I'm kidding. There's a good number of people watching. So if you're tuned in, thanks for being here. It is time for the headliner of the evening, and we've had a lot of fun so far, and we're going to keep that going. So if you're at home, make some noise, get a popper, jump up and down on your couch, do whatever, and give it up for Jay Black.
Round of applause for everybody that's been on the stage so far. It was very nice. You're lucky I'm going on. I wasn't going to perform because contractually I'm not allowed to go on after anybody who's skinnier than I am. And Jose is very skinny. I don't like it. Because I had lost a lot of weight up until COVID. And this is as best as I can look right now. Do you understand that this is me trying? I put on jeans, I comb my hair, I look like a monster. Like they were hosing me off in the parking lot prior to the show. And the problem is, honestly, I have stopped caring about anything because there's this existential thing where there's like death is around every corner and nothing you do matters. Anyway, welcome to the comedy show. So I'm excited to be here because I'm married, so I'm excited to be anywhere. My wife is a kindergarten teacher. Is anybody here planning to go on to be a teacher? Oh, one person. Oh, camera guy. What do you plan on being? Yeah, like what kind of teacher? Like an elementary school, high school? Was that? English language teacher. Oh, that's very nice. Like, are you not from here? Are you going to go somewhere else to teach English? What country? Japan. Oh, okay, that's cool. Listen, guys, there's 4 of us in here. I want to meet everybody. This is like an AA meeting. My wife, kindergarten teacher, which is a good job. You're going to love teaching. Teaching's a great job if you don't like money or respect. But my wife, kindergarten teacher, which is a great job. She makes the world a better place. Here's the problem. She spends all day long making children feel better about themselves, which is fine, except it crawls into her voice and it stays there. She gets kindergarten teacher voice and it doesn't go away. I hear it all the time after sex. Like, no, you did a very good job in there. You were trying very hard. I can tell. Don't cry. Here's a sticker. I get stickers, which I think is nice. I have a book and there's a frog and it says, "Hoppin' good job." By the way, this whole setup reminds me so much of high school in the sense that I'm alone and I'm talking into the void and saying, well, maybe someday someone will enjoy this. Is anybody here dating? Has anybody here ever been on a date? Has anybody here ever eaten a date? Listen, I don't want to eat here either. We're all here because we have to be. So here's the thing. Dating people, here's my advice to you. Never have the conversation, how many people were you with before you were with me? You don't want to know. I had this conversation with my wife accidentally. So I found out when she was in college, she spent a semester in Ireland. And this disturbed me Because, ladies, you like the Irish guys. I know you do. I've read your romance novels. So I said to my wife, when you were in Ireland, were you with a lot of guys? And her answer was, don't worry about it. And that is not a very good answer. That is not what you want to hear. Because women have a particular kind of math when it comes to that, right? If she says 2, probably means 5. If she says 5, probably means 10. If she says don't worry about it, means they're singing folk songs about her in Ireland as we speak. There is a statue of her in Dublin that boys touch for good luck when they turn 13. Now, I like that laugh, Jose. Listen, Jose's doing me a favor by laughing because comedians don't laugh at each other's jokes. The most you can hope for from a comedian is just like, I like what he did there. That was pretty good. So I am not a super religious guy. I know Jaron was talking about being religious. I'm not. I was raised Catholic, which we have Catholics. Are Catholics in Ohio? Are they allowed to be? I don't know. Oh, Jose, you're Cuban, right? So were you Catholic? Retired Catholic, right? See, because if you've never been to a Catholic church, it's exhausting going to a Catholic church. Sit, stand, kneel, sit, stand, sit, kneel. It's like aerobics. I sit in church and I say, Father, as long as we're doing this anyway, let's play a game with it. Let's say Jesus says first. Would that be fun? Jesus says sit. Jesus says kneel. Now stand. Ooh, Billy. Jesus didn't say stand. You're going to hell. I know it seems arbitrary. That's just how we roll. Now, our Pope, Jose, we have a Pope. You said, I don't know if you saw this. This is very exciting for me. Said that if you're Catholic, it's okay to believe in evolution. And this was exciting for me, okay? Because growing up religious, I could never wrap my head around the idea that God designed me himself, okay? Because I've seen myself naked. If this is the best God can do, he needs to try again. Really? Is this what God intended? Hair coming out of a nipple? Is that what he wanted? How about farts? Do you think he intended on those? Do you think he was up in heaven going, hey, you know what we need every couple of seconds? That's what we need. And by the way, thank you for not getting offended at that. I had a woman in the front row once go, that's disgusting. I'm like, what, you don't fart? She's like, no, I'm a Christian. It was like, did I miss something? Do Christians not do that? Do they just hold it in until they die and let out one 45-minute fart at the end? Is that what happens? Like, what's wrong with grandma? Oh, she's just a Christian. That's what happens. So I'm told that this is like a super conservative area. I think AJ said this. Are you guys political in this room here? I like how you just mention politics and everybody looks around like, no, don't. It's a rough time because people are getting... See, because listen, I'm a nothing. I know some of you are Democrats and some of you are Republicans. I can tell from your haircuts. Here's my question, though. Why be anything? They're all terrible people. Can't vote for him. Voting Democrat in this country is like voting for a prostate exam from a doctor with cold hands and no lube. Voting Republican is like voting for a prostate exam from a doctor with plenty of lube, no arms. It's my favorite joke. I love it because everybody in the room is like, well, then how would he give? Oh, no, okay. No, I see. I thought he was turning right. He turned left right at the end. That was very good. So I guess the vaccine is coming, right? My wife got vaccinated. Anybody else get vaccinated yet? My wife got vaccinated because she's an essential worker because she deals with children. I'm a comedian. So we did the math. I'm getting my vaccine June 23rd, 2027. It's circus performers, then it's pet alligators, and then me, Jay Black. I'm the last person to get it. Listen, here's the thing about politics, and it's our fault because we live in a democracy and we pick those people out, okay? Every time I look at our Congress, I think if those are our choices, we should not have the right to vote. The American experiment has failed, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what we should do. Every member of Congress should be picked out the same way we do jury duty. Random postcards in the mail. Right? Like one day you just walk out your mailbox, you're like, crap. What? Well, apparently I'm Speaker of the House now. I have to find a way out of this, Helen. I have no choice. I think for anybody that's been paying attention to the act, it's obvious that my act has a message. and it's this: I am against terrorism. Now, here's what I love about it. Like, two of you laughed, and then this whole section of students just were looking around like, that's not what his act's about. Is that what's happening? A lot of these are jokes. But I will say I'm against terrorism because I'm a hero. And here's the reason why. It's because every time a terrorist tries to take over a plane with something, I can't bring that thing on a plane anymore. Right? Nail clippers. You can't bring nail clippers. Remember that shoe guy? Now I got to take my shoes off. Hair gel? What the hell? Just saying, terrorists, at least once, work with us. Try to take over a plane with a crying baby. By the way, this is not a real baby. I know that Jaron was doing dog jokes earlier, and people were getting mad. This is a pretend, fake baby, and I'm not advocating for it. Because you do that, and you get like people are like, oh, you shouldn't use a baby as a terrorist device. I understand that. Just joking. By the way, how many people still knowing that it's a fake baby kind of want me to stop shaking the baby so much? Right? Imagination does that. Everybody's like, oh no, the baby. When you have a baby, I don't know if you know this, there's a person in New Jersey whose whole job it is, and this is true, I'm not making any of this up. We had a baby, and a woman came in from the state and was like, I'm just here to tell you, you're going to get angry with the baby. Don't shake the baby. No matter how mad you get, don't shake the baby. And I'm like, okay, good advice, but why do you need to do it? Right? Like I asked the lady, like, has there ever once been a parent that went, oh my God, that's what we were doing wrong? You know, it's, don't shake the baby, even the face. Okay, listen. So the flying thing. I did lose weight. I swear to you, I lost weight before this happened. Because prior to the COVID thing, I was flying all over. And in this world, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need a scale to tell you that you're fat if you fly. All you need are the eyes of the other people when you step on to a Southwest flight. If everyone with an open seat next to him is looking at you like, it's time to drop a few pounds. Listen, I don't mean to make fun. I was on a plane. There was a woman next to me. So much of her was on me. We hit turbulence, and technically, I cheated on my wife. Again, it's a joke. I feel like a lot of you. There's a chart later that I can show you to explain it. Some of you are afraid to fly. If you are, I urge you not to be, unless you're on a flight with Jose, in which case, be very afraid. But no, because it's a safe form of travel. And if you're afraid, I have advice for you. Here's what you do. Next time you get on a plane, look around the cabin for douchebags. If you see a douchebag, relax, okay? Because God doesn't kill douchebags. Have you noticed that? They live forever. If I get on a plane and the person next to me is a volunteer nurse at a burn ward, I'm getting off that plane. It is going to crash. If the guy next to me is Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, crack open the cocktails, boys. It's smooth flying ahead. That guy's going to live to be 1,000, in part because he's a lizard person from space. Do your own research is all I'm saying. So yeah, no, I will say I did have a baby. I have a baby at home. It came out of my wife, and. Well, no, that's how it works. It's so weird when you bring up stuff like that and you go like, oh, the baby came out of my wife's area. And people are just, oh, ew. Like, that's how it's been done so far as I know every time. But it's, do you guys, you have kids? You have kids, guys going to Japan? Oh, AJ does. Here's my advice to you. Have some kids. Okay, do it tonight if you can. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. When you're ready, next semester. But it's fun. It's so much fun for you. For the girl, it hurts a little bit. But for you, listen, I made a whole human being in under a minute. Okay? Took my wife 9 months, lazy. That's all I'm saying. Work smarter, not harder. That's my advice. That is my advice. And I got a sticker at the end. Call back. So, anyway, here's what I would urge you to do, though, okay? Find out ahead of time if it's a boy or girl, because you have to, all right? Because it answers questions that you want to know. Not little questions, or not big questions, little questions, right? Like, do you paint the bedroom blue or do you kill yourself? Little questions. But, by the way, guys, it's a joke. I know the girls get upset about that. I was scared of having daughters, and I'll tell you why. Can you all see my lips? They're enormous and they're red, right? Looks like I'm wearing lipstick even though I'm not. These are what we call prison lips. Means that if I were in prison, I'd be popular. I'm not saying I'm happy about that. I'm just saying I would have a high cigarette value. Now, my wife, I don't want to talk out of turn. My wife has amazing boobs. My wife has the kind of boobs that could convert an atheist. Like, I don't believe. Praise Jesus. I mean, they're ridiculous. Now, here's what I worry about. What if I have a daughter that inherits my lips and her boobs? That's right, creepo. That's what I'm worried about right there. Did you see? Everybody else completely silent. One dude in the room puts the math together like, oh, yeah, that sounds really nice. Yeah, no, I'll see you in about 16 years. I'll be driving a van. But I do have two babies, or two daughters. I have my son, and I have my middle daughter, and I have my youngest. And my youngest was, when she was a baby, was so fat. She was a fat baby. When she was 1 year old, she was 36 pounds. That's a fat baby. To give you an idea how fat that is, if a burglar broke into my home, the first thing I would grab to hit that burglar about the head would be my 1 year old daughter. She was dense like a 60s ashtray. You could fire that baby out of a cannon and knock down a castle wall. Again, I feel like I've lost this side of the room. The girl side of the room, again, they're just looking at me like, you shouldn't use a baby to bludgeon a burglar to death. That is the first thing we learn in mommy school. I should say I should apologize to the ladies. Ladies, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I thought you chose to be evil. But now that I have a 10-year-old daughter at home, I understand you are born that way. It is not your fault. I'm going to tell you a true story. It is a ridiculous story, but it's true. And to this day, it makes, well, here, let me just tell it. And at home, turn the lights down so that you don't get too scared. So my daughter and I are watching a movie, and in that movie, two boys are fighting over a girl. And out of curiosity, I turned to my beautiful 10-year-old daughter, and I go, honey, what would you do if two boys were fighting over you? And she thinks about it a moment, and then she begins to laugh maniacally. I'm like, what? She was like, Daddy, I know what I'd do. If two boys were fighting over me, I know what I'd do. And it's funny. Daddy, it's funny. I was like, all right, what would you do? She was like, I would wait till they were done fighting, then go home with a third different boy. Wouldn't that be funny? That'd be funny. And I was like, well, you certainly take after your mother. I have a son who's 13. He's here with me. And a couple of years ago, he was so cute. He didn't know what racism was, which I think makes me a good dad. Like, he wasn't even aware of the concept. And he came to me, and he was like, Dad, what's racism? And I was like, oh, well, that's when you don't like somebody just for the color of their skin. And I swear he thinks about it in a moment. He goes, oh, like how I hate the Blue Man Group. And I was like, yeah, you're a racist. Get out of my house. Like, I had to. So I'll say this to you guys. This has been like this whole scenario. I tried to get out of it so many times. Like, I was like, I can't go to Ohio in the middle of the apocalypse. And I talked to Sharinda, who put all this together, and she was like, well, Ohio has kind of already gone through the apocalypse, so like we're prepared for it, right? So like there's no difference post and pre-COVID. Come on out. But I just want to say, Sharinda, you have done so well putting this all together. This is so wonderful. And the fact that you guys get to have a live comedy show, even though there's all this going on, I think that's a testimony to the school and the people that work here. And I'm happy to be a part of it. I mean, I don't know why I couldn't have done it at home. Probably could have just done this in my living room. Nobody would have known the difference. But it's cool. It's cool. I liked, driving all through Ohio. That's it. It's nice. My son was driving with me, and he kept looking out the window, and he's like, is this it? And I was like, mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, well, all right. I guess they chose to live here. So I'll say this. If you're at home and you like what I'm doing, I urge you to please find me online. I have a website, jblack.tv. That's JAYBLACK.tv. That's the letter, then the color, then the thing that raised you. If you go to that site, my social media is there, but also there's a free CD that you can download. And by the way, if you can't remember jblack.tv, just Google me. You will find me. Couple of warnings. Warning number one, I'm not Jay Black, the singer. Look him up. You'll be like, oh, he looks good for 78. That's not me, different guy. Number two, far more important, I'm not Jay Black, the porn star. Now, okay, listen, Jaron, you're laughing. I'm not joking. Listen to me. He's a real guy. He's an African-American man who's in very good shape and who does things on film that will make you blind. You understand me? Now, how did I discover Jay Black? Not the way you think. Because after every show, I do a vanity Twitter search on myself, see what people are saying. So I put my name into Twitter, and somebody had posted a link, and next to that link, they wrote, Jay Black finishes strong. And I was like, oh, fantastic. Someone was at one of my shows. They must have videotaped it. Let's see what they uploaded. Click. You can't unsee what I saw. Do you understand me? I cried blood. I grew stigmata. That was just for the Catholics in the room. I'm excited about it. By the way, you may have noticed when I gave out my website, I did a little bit of sign language. That's because I'm trying to learn sign language because my wife's mom is deaf. So I'm trying to learn so I can talk with her. But also so I can see what my wife is saying about me. Because I watch and she goes really fast. And my name sign is this, which I'm told is a compliment. So I'm going to share with you some sign language I learned. I learned this the hard way. Everything you're about to see, real sign language. This, ladies and gentlemen, is hungry. See this? Hungry. This, shorter, similar, not the same, is horny. Hungry, horny, which is an important distinction to make if you're having Thanksgiving dinner at a deaf person's house. You don't want to walk in like, oh my God, I'm so horny, where's the turkey? Because then, just making sure everybody, because a lot of you are looking at me like, that's just what we call in Ohio, thank you. That's how we let you know it was a good turkey. How else are you supposed to know? We'll be done in a little bit. I saw the camera person checking the watch. There's 6 people in here. She was trying to be said. She wasn't rude. Just like, well, is he still going to be talking past 9:30? I'll be done soon. I've had to say that to my wife a few times too. I'll be done soon. Don't worry. Just you'll get back to TV. I am married, and I do want to say that I joke about marriage, but it's a lovely institution. Marriage is God's way of saying, hey, you're having too much sex, slow it down. Maybe sort some recycling. Won't that be fun? Do that for the next 35 years. You will argue, though, my wife and I are currently in an argument about cleaning products because I don't know. My wife goes on mommy blogs, you know, the mommy blogs, where like, you know, it's or Facebook, you know, and I don't know if you know this, those things are not written by scientists. So she'll go on and she'll get like weird obsessions, and her current one is about we need all natural cleaning products. We can't have bleach in the house. We need all natural cleaning products. So I've done a little research, so you don't have to. All natural is an old Navajo word that means doesn't work. They do not work. My daughter spilled slime on a rug. Do you think lemon pepper vinegar is going to get that out? I need industrial stuff. I need the stuff that made the Joker. Ideally, that is what I'm putting on my floor. And the irony of all of it is that my wife and I live in New Jersey. We breathe New Jersey air. We drink New Jersey water. Bleach is literally the safest liquid in my home. I give it to my children when we're out of juice. That's a joke. Relax. Bleach is expensive. So we call we went sideways on that. We'll be done soon, I promise you. Now she's twittering. This guy's still talking. Jaron, you were talking about practical jokes. I have a good practical joke that I've been playing on my wife, and you can steal it when you get married. I know you're kind of an old maid because you're 27, did you say? And not married? Yeah, no, you should. Can I give you some advice as a married man? Give it another 27 years. Really, you don't need to be saddled down. No, it's wonderful. So here's the thing. Since my wife and I have been together, like since I knew that I loved her and I wanted to marry her, I've been doing this. Every time she bends over, wait. Japan guy was like, oh, it's getting interesting. It's not, and I'm not, just wait. Every time she bends over, I make a farty noise. I've never not done it. Every time. She's bent over, pick a sock. There's been times she's come into the room where I've been sick with the flu. She thought I was asleep. She's bent over to pick something up in front of the bed. I was like, I've never not done it. We walk up a flight of stairs, and I'm behind her the entire way, the whole way up. Now, why am I doing this? I think it's obvious. Look at me. My lifestyle, I will be dead long before she will. And if my calculations are correct, she's going to be at that funeral. Something will inevitably fall. She will bend over to pick it up, and she will stand up weeping. And all of her friends are going to be like, are you all right? What's going on? And she'll be like, nobody made a farty noise. And her friends are going to be like, oh my God, she's losing it. And I'll be up in heaven going, that's right, I won. Look, I did it. Playing the long game. Okay, so here's the thing. We should be done shortly, right, Sharinda? Just making sure, another 5-10 minutes. I'm gonna say this before I go. You have been a lovely audience, and I hope to the people at home I haven't offended you. And I'm not as worried about it because you're on the internet right now, and if this is the most offensive thing you've found on the internet tonight, you're doing it wrong. like I don't want you to click on this and like, oh my God, a PG-13 stand-up show in a basement? What has the internet become? You can find worse than this. Try it right now. Pause this and then just put in whatever body part you like. But here's the thing. I do upset people all the time. I don't mean to. I'll tell you just a couple of quick stories. And this is more for the comedians in the room. This is a true story. So when you're a comic, you guys get interviewed a lot, right? And you always get the same question every time, which is, who's your favorite comedian? And I can't answer that anymore because my answer was always Bill Cosby. And you can't, like, just even mentioning it, everybody's like, oh, no. But we didn't know. Right up until like a few years ago, none of us knew. This is a true story. I was performing at Magooby's in, I guess that's Maryland. And it's a true story. I did a magazine article before the show, like 3 months before the show. And they just did all the, regular questions. And then during the summer, all that stuff came out about Cosby. And, about a week before the performance, I get a call from the manager at Magooby's, and they're like, what did you do? They're like, what do you mean, what did I do? It's like, we're getting a lot of complaints already. You're not even here. What did you do? Did you? And I'm like, I don't know what I did. So I looked at the magazine, and all of this is true. This is how dumb I am. The question was, who's your favorite comedian? And I wanted to answer it in a funny way. I was like, oh, Bill Cosby. I saw what he was doing and thought, man, I'd love to do that too. But we didn't know at the time. It just turned out that was the worst answer you could have possibly given. Here's the thing too. Here's another true story. This is a true story of how I was asked to leave the nursery the day my first child, my son, was born. And here's what happened. Okay, my son came out of my wife's area, which again, don't watch. It's the grossest thing. If you want to know what it's like, go to a bowling alley, watch the ball return. It's like that, but with a person. And other stuff, like an octopus. It makes no sense. None of it makes sense. So the baby comes out, they take him, they clean him up, they bring him to the nursery. Now I go back with just the nurse. My wife doesn't come because she's tired or whatever. Princess needed a nap. And I gave her one. She had work the next day, not a monster. By the way, still joking. I see there's the girl there. I don't like him at all, not even a little bit. By the way, if you don't like something, and I just say this, please contact me immediately. Do not immediately cancel me, because I'm just trying to make people laugh, and then I'm so nervous because college kids, like normal crowds, when they don't like something, they're like, I'm leaving. College kids are like, I'm leaving, and I'm going to start a social media campaign to destroy him. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Just find me. But okay, so it's just, so I go back. It's just me, the nurse, and my baby. and this is what my baby was doing, and this is what got me in trouble because I tried to be funny. My baby was doing this. So I go to the nurse, like, well, that's interesting. What's he doing? And the nurse is like, oh, you see, he's hungry. And when he can't get access to your wife, he turns to his hand. And I was like, well, I know all about that. Glad you find it funny. She did not. Now, normally at one of these shows, this is where I would do a fake good night and I would leave. And then I would come back and answer questions. So what I would like to do now is just end this show with the question that I get every time I perform, so I can just sort of tell this story. And this is my goodbye at a regular show, which is the question I always get is, how did you go from being, a teacher? Because I taught. Did I talk about that? No, I was a high school teacher, and it was great. I taught high school English, and I had to get out of it because you get into this mode, like when you're a teacher, where you think you're a teacher all the time. And I knew it was bad for me. I was at a bar one night, sat down, biker came in, sat down next to me. He used the F word, right? So teacher mode kicked on. I turned around and said, excuse me, is that how we talk? And he beat me unconscious. I was a young teacher too. I got out of college, I was 21 teaching high school. And this is a mistake because those kids think you're an adult just because you're a teacher. But anybody in here or at home who's been 21, when you're 21, you don't know anything about anything, right? So those kids would come to me with serious questions and I would never know what to say. They'd be like, Mr. Black, my best friend's on drugs. What should I do? I'd be like, hey kid, I don't know how to iron pants. I do not think I'm the person to talk to here. Mr. Black, my parents are divorcing. What should I do? Last night I got drunk and took a poop in my microwave, which it's just a joke, but it's a lot of fun. Okay, so I taught. So the question that I always get at the end of the show is, how did you go from being a teacher to a comedian? And it does not take long, okay? It's a story for you. Doesn't take long. Camera right is just this whole time has just been mad. So it's a short story. It starts with the dinosaur, which is the dinosaur. Everybody has a dinosaur that they can play with. Some are big, some are small. Girls, you have dinosaurs too, a little smaller, just as fun. If I may, and I know we're on the internet right now, and it's a PG-13 show, I would like to take out my dinosaur and show you all. Is that okay? Can we do that? Okay. I like how Sharinda was like, sure. Jaron was like, oh my God. And everybody else was like, if we stay quiet, he'll leave, right? Like if we just stare at him uncomfortably, this will end. Let me show you my dinosaur. Here we go. Can we zoom in? Look, there's two of them. Look, they're fighting. Now they're kissing. Too far. Okay, now listen. I have a very stupid sense of humor. I love the dinosaur. I will do the dinosaur all the time to make myself laugh, which, by the way, if you do it on a plane, no one will talk to you. Or, where are you from? Please leave me alone. Now, I taught high school, okay? And I would use the dinosaur to make the kids be quiet. It should be noted that I was a terrible teacher. I would always be like, you should be quiet, you're making the dinosaur angry. And the kids would be like, what is wrong with him? We should probably be quiet. Now, every school has a hot sub. Right? You guys remember, sometimes it's a boy sub, sometimes it's a girl sub. My school was girl sub. When I say this girl was out of my league, we weren't even playing the same sport. Okay, she was Major League Baseball, I was girls intramural cricket. So, which, do they even have that here? Probably not. I asked her for a date, and I was so excited. And this is a good, at a college, this is good. Always ask. You never know. I asked this girl for a date. She said yes. I ran back to my freshman class, and I was like, hey, kids, you know the hot sub? I have a date with her. Super inappropriate. Should have never told them that. Again, terrible teacher. So from the back of the room, pretty little blonde-haired girl, Noelle, goes like this. Mr. Black, when you're on your date, don't do the dinosaur. And I was like, why? And she was like, because everyone thinks the dinosaur is stupid. And I look around the room, and I swear to you, every person is doing. Good advice. So we go on our date, and I would say the date is rolling at about a 3 out of 5. It isn't a 5 out of 5. It isn't a 1 out of 5. It's right in the middle. But then, midway through the date, Noelle's words come back to me. Mr. Black, don't do the dinosaur. Except, instead of sounding like good advice, it sounded like a challenge. Now, here's my second bit of advice, okay? The thing I don't like about dates or our interactions with anybody that we like is a lot of times we just lie, right? It's like, this is the best version of myself. Don't do that. You got to be yourself. Like, listen, I'm not saying if you have 5 nipples to show up at the date with your shirt off. I'm just saying at some point during the date, find the excuse to ask, hey, where do you stand on nipples? Scale of 1 to 5. Anything over a 3, you're golden. So I wanted to show this person who I was. So I say to this very beautiful woman, hey, I have an idea. Would you like to see my dinosaur? And every word I'm about to tell you is 100% true. She said, listen to me, I don't know what that is, but no. And I go, oh, it's a lot of fun. You can take it out whenever you're bored, and it's just, you know, can I do? Now, here's the thing about the dinosaur. Even if you think the dinosaur is stupid, which judging from your looks, all of you do, you have to give me a courtesy laugh. You have to give me the, right? Because I can't just back it up quietly and put it in my pocket. I'll look foolish. So I'm doing the dinosaur for this woman, and none of this is exaggeration. For 30 of the longest seconds of my life, she stared at me in judgmental silence. And I'm getting increasingly more desperate to get the laugh. I'm like, rrr, rrr. I put my finger into mashed potatoes. I was like, look, the dinosaur is hungry. Nom, 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 nom. At the end of those 30 seconds, she said, I'm just going to tell you now, there's not going to be a second date. Now, third bit of advice, which is if, you know, things are bad. I dealt with a lot of depression all through college and, you know, my whole life really, and I know a lot of you probably do too. If things are dark, and nothing can get darker than backing up a dinosaur and putting it into your pocket while the woman that you find most beautiful in the world is staring at you with hatred, the urge is to stop, but don't, right? It's just like keep crawling through the crap, and eventually you come up into the rain like Shawshank. And any normal human probably would have just said, thank you, good night, let's end the date. I was like, all right, let's keep going. So it got awkward, but we continued, and it was back and forth, and it got a little bit better as time went on. And finally, I drop her off at the house, and she says, I guess, since you bought me dinner, I at least owe you a good night kiss. And I was not going to deny that logic. And this is where having prison lips come in handy, because my lips bought me a second date, and now she's at home with my kids. Okay, not my wife, just some girl I knocked up. Let's be clear, I've never talked to that woman again. No, it's my wife, and to this day, she hates the dinosaur. It's her least favorite thing that I do. And my son, who's here, Keen, come on up. Don't trip on the wires there. There's my son, Keen. He's 13. I made him. I just want everybody to see him. I'm so proud because he's so much better looking than me when I find the real father. Okay, you can go now. I just want him to look at you. Watch the thing there. So when he was a little boy, he has something called apraxia. It makes it hard for him to speak. So he couldn't say dinosaur, but he loved it. It was his favorite thing. And he couldn't make the dinosaur. He would just go like this. And he just like this. He would sit on my wife and just hit her in the face. Like, look, mommy, dinosaur. Look, mommy, dinosaur. And she would just be miserable. And I'd be like, that's right, I won. I made another run of me. But okay, so here's the question. How did I go, like, how does that relate to me becoming a stand-up comic? Well, I'm dating this girl, and she's the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen. And beautiful people, I don't know if you know this, I didn't know because I wasn't beautiful, they have beautiful friends, right? The beautiful people all hang out with each other, which means she had beautiful guy friends. And all of her guy friends were like intimidating. They all were tall, and they had abs, you know, and not just regular abs, like just like stomach abs and like back abs and eye abs, teeth abs. They had like abs everywhere. And they all had intimidating nicknames like, hi, I'm John, but everybody calls me Fire Hose. And like, How did you get that name? I'll show you. That's all right. So I wanted to do something to impress her. And a week after we started dating, I, did my first stand-up bit because I didn't think I had anything else to really show. And 10 years later, 15 years later now, she's my wife and this is my job. And I just want to end with that, which is this idea that don't wait to do the stuff that you want to do, because life moves a lot faster than you think. If you want to know what life after college is, like you graduate, you blink once, you take a poop, you blink 2 more times, you die. That's it. That's the entirety of your life. And middle age comes at you like you're blacking out at a party. Like everything's going great, and then like middle age starts creeping on the sides, and the next thing you know, you're in a puddle of your own vomit. Like, if you're doing it right. So just do it now. Like if there's something you've wanted to do, don't wait, because you might not meet the girl or the guy that inspires you to go out and fulfill your dreams. Whatever that thing is that you want to do it, whatever it is. Unless that thing is like stab a hitchhiker to death. Don't do that. Don't be like, oh, Jay's right. I should have been doing this all along. I finally am sexually fulfilled. Like, don't do that. But otherwise, find your dream. And thank you so much for having me here at Findlay College. You guys are great. And Sharinda, thank you. You did a wonderful job. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Thank you all for tuning in to the 20th Annual Comedy Jam. We hope to see you all again next year in person, hopefully, at the Marathon Center for the Performing Arts. If you're interested in other student activities board events, please check out the University of Findlay's website event calendar. Thank you. Have a great night. Woo!